How we doing, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. We're halfway through the week, and that also means that we are starting our play days for the week for SCS. So I'm very excited. I'm joined tonight for the first series by Sticula and Jazzman, and we are going to be seeing some phenomenal teams come out. It's going to be Synthetic versus Wichita Wolves. How are you guys doing tonight?
Feeling good. First time casting synthetic for me, I think. So this is gonna be really interesting. Wichita Wolves, I'm a little bit more familiar with. Obviously, they're the team with the boot camp, so I kind of understand where they're coming from. I understand where they've been, their past, and what they've been up to. But as for synthetic, they're very new to me, so I'm excited to, I guess, learn a new team today.
Definitely, Jazz. And I know, Stick, you've been here for a little while longer, so you know a little bit more of Synthetic. So
a bit,
let's
yeah.
hear it.
I followed Synthetic since about when they were the Floppas. That's when I first heard about them. And it's been an interesting kind of history with their team. Made a few roster changes now, and they're trying to just get mostly settled in. Funnily enough, Wichita actually a team that me and Jazz have casted before, way back in Upsurge during the summer 2020 grand finals. They took second place, I do believe. So decent history there, and I'm glad to be back here with you again, Adam, to give this a second run.
Of course, it's been a while. I mean, I'm just kind of like getting back to the groove with everyone. So I guess this is attempt number like 3 with me and you. So let's see how this goes. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I am excited for sure to see exactly what maps we're going to be playing, and it has already been decided. The Rainbow Six Gods have allowed us to play Villa and Kafe tonight, so we don't have to see Clubhouse again. We don't have to see Oregon, so I'm very excited about that. Villa's going to be the first one up, and Synthetic chose to go on defense, then Kafe, Wichita Wolves on defense. So both these teams sort of electing to take the stronger sides on each of their maps here. What are you guys thinking about that?
Ooh, Villa and Kafe. Now, these are two very interesting maps, to say the least. I think that they're your newest additions, from what I remember, minus, I guess, Oregon. Oregon's your newest addition, but Kafe and Villa are not your typical overplayed maps that we see right now in the Siege meta. Like Coastline, like Clubhouse, and like Oregon, even though it's brand new, it is overplayed to death already. But, I mean, it's an interesting set of maps, I think, and they're both pretty heavily defender sided, but Villa's kind of starting to lean a little bit more towards anyone's guess. So I'm really excited to see these two maps. As for Wichita Wolves on Villa, I don't think I've seen them on Villa before, so this is going to be intriguing to me. I usually see them on Oregon or just one of those meta maps that we've talked about. So this could just be their off pick. Who knows?
Yeah, Clubhouse is traditionally the Wichita Wolves dub house, as we like to say here in SCS, so I'm kind of glad that Synthetic took that away from them. If they want to pick up at least one map tonight, I think that's exactly how they have to do it, is get rid of those comfortable maps. But Stick, any last comments here before we go and see who we're going to be casting tonight?
Well, I'm glad to see these two maps because it is, as you mentioned, a break from the normalcy. I think though Wichita have played both of these maps, they've at least got some measure of experience. I think Villa is the one that has probably the least for them. Fortunately, I don't have any historical data going back through the previous seasons in order to give somewhat of a picture there. If you're looking over at the synthetic side of things, Villa, a map we have yet to see from them during this season. Kafe, it's been played twice, so they've got a decent amount of film on that map, which is a bit of a risk if you keep on repeating a map, especially versus Wichita Wolves, a team with a really strong coaching and analysis staff. And if you repeat maps, you repeat strats, they're going to catch on to it.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jazz. There, I didn't know you were coming in.
I agree. Like Clubhouse is just those. I mean, any child with crayons could like basically draw out a Rainbow Six Siege strat on Clubhouse right now. So I'm glad that we're getting a nice, refreshing break.
Yeah, I like that. It's fun.
I actually saw a joke about crayons because it is Veterans Day today, so all you Marines out there, very familiar with that one. Oh man! All right, I'm gonna stop dissing on the Marine Corps here as we swap over to the Wichita Wolves, and you guys still see those two blank spaces there on the right side of the screen, which means they are still in their hunt for players, and I think that is still going to continue being a detriment to them in the early season. But I would say that they are getting a little bit closer to sort of locking in who they want. What about you guys? Have you seen any sort of moves coming out from them? Any intel from deep in the trenches of the Twitter T3C?
Maybe. I do believe they were playing with Hitman from Wichita Oblivion previously, though I'm not
Really?
sure if that's still set in stone as for who's playing today. One thing that I would like to see is Makarov from Katsu, the CL Quals team from Season 11. I would really like to see him get onto this roster. They're looking for a fragger. That's kind of the role that Makarov can slot into, and I think he would make a really good 5-stack here on Wichita. But yeah, as you mentioned, the tryout process still in progress. Wichita trying to max out and kind of in some respects make sure that they've got the absolute highest skill roster moving into the next season of Challenger League. They don't want to, come up with kind of a half-baked team that won't be able to qualify. As you might know, during the last stages qualifier, they went to the boot camp. That was something Adam talked about, and they fell sadly short of making the quals, which was a huge disappointment, especially for here at SCS. Everybody was kind of rooting for Redux, or rather for Wichita, seeing that, that's our homegrown team, the champions, going to try and make Challenger League. Fortunately, they were not able to get it done, though.
We'll see if they can get it done next time around. I know they've definitely been working towards that. I think that's why they're making these final roster changes, is to really settle in and get a couple months of experience, which would be huge for them. And it'd be kind of fun to say, hey, you know what? This team was in SCS for all this time. Now they're in CL, and they're absolutely slamming there. So that'd be cool to watch. And I think Synthetic is also getting a little bit closer here. They've had time to work with their roster. They're consistently getting better bit by bit each week. Hazmat's setting into his role. He's got a 0.65 now instead of the 0.4, so that's definitely an improvement from last week. To I know he memes about it on Twitter. That's the only reason I'm saying that. No mean here, Hazmat, just to be nice. But Jazz, what are you thinking about a couple of these teams here? I know In Control, as we see on the top of the screen, they're playing later this week, but they're probably one of the top powerhouse teams. Do you have anything to say about that? Any other teams that we should be watching out for, in your opinion?
I don't know if predictions are going to come out on screen, but that's my opinion on In Control. Other than that, Wichita Wolves, like I said, I have seen them before. And as we can see, the predictions all very, very much in unison right now. The only real exception that I see going on is actually none of them. Most of them only have one game that's like kind of off. We have one tie prediction from Ferme. So obviously it doesn't seem like we have much of a interesting week. Not an interesting week, but we have a lot of teams that need to prove themselves, right? Like I casted whenever we casted. I think it was Renaissance, however you say their name. That doesn't get them upset. The Quebecians. I don't want to get Quebecians upset, but they really didn't have much of a showing against In Control, and there's obviously a gap here, and I think that this is the week where teams can finally start to prove themselves and understand where they sit in SCS. This is a really important week for a lot of teams, and I think this game just kicks everything right off. I think this game is also going to be very important, and as you can see, there is nobody that has their doubts when it comes to Wichita Wolves winning this game. They're a very much established roster, even with 2 people that they're trying out. That blows my mind that you carry such a reputation where you can win with only 3 of your main roster still standing. That's quite amazing.
And yeah, I've got to point out here before Sticula gets his 2 cents in too, that even Ferme's mom is voting Wichita Wolves, and she's normally the one that is the outlier of the votes. So if she's voting for Wichita Wolves,
everyone is.
It's
it's unanimous.
I did. Even I did.
Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, let's see if Synthetic can pull it off. I want to see the fight of a lifetime. You know what I mean? I want to go to OT. Let's get it going. 26 rounds coming out today.
Yeah, let's hope for that. I think when you're discussing that, why everyone is just so sound in their confidence to vote for Wichita, it's got a lot to do with Synthetic's performance this season. It's not been nearly up to snuff. They have had a big series of losses, and they just haven't looked on form. I mean, they've got plenty of gun skill. You're seeing, all these ranked clips on Twitter. But when it comes to game day, it's either shakes or inconfidence, and they just can't seem to get it under their belt, which is largely disappointing for a team which I think does have a little bit of promise. I mean, you've got strong players with good competitive mindsets. When you talk about people like Fig, people like Salt, Hazmat as well, plenty of experience for Hazmat, whether that's in the fragging role or, more over on a flex. I think they can improve just a little bit. But SCS, you kind of need to stand out from the pack. You can't be leading that far behind because it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to be here in, God, like week 4 now, and still yet to have really any wins. You're not getting much closer. Maybe this is the game to turn the tide. You know, you see that Wichita is playing with tryouts. They might not have the full fragging power, seeing as they are searching for a fragger. That's the spot, the role they're trying to fill. So you might try to attack that here from the perspective of Synthetic, try to play really aggressive and simply win your heads-up gunfights. But on a map between Villa and Kafe, I don't know if I exactly see that type of strategy working.
Well, I mean, I think that we might see Salt get put on the Ella tonight, and basically Crafty telling him to absolutely go nuts because, as you know, he posted an entire video on Ella, and he's just a madman with that. But I did have some confirmation from Slaypex, who's one of the coaches for Wichita Wolves, that actually tonight we're going to be seeing Anarchy from the old HL roster, and then Bestia. I don't know where he's from. I haven't heard that name yet before, so maybe if one of you guys knows, you'd be able to say. But Makarov actually is on a team now, so that theory goes out the window.
Oh, really?
I don't know what team, they didn't say, but I was watching, and obviously the stream is a little bit delayed, so they won't see this for a while. But yeah, Makarov is on a team, so.
All right, good for him. Good for
Yeah.
Mac. I don't really have any other thoughts on the maps or, you know, the teams at large. It's good to know that Anarchy has found a spot there on Wichita, though. I think he can handle himself. He's a pretty talented player. He's got a good competitive mindset. I think we are getting about close to that time, so it may be about time to say goodbye, Nash.
I think
and
so.
In fact, it will. So we'll
Bye,
be heading
everyone.
into the operator bands. Villa. It's Villa. You probably know what to expect. We'll see likely a Thatcher, something to do with Hard Breach. Maybe I don't know, like an Intel ban, like an IQ. Maybe that'll be targeted from Wichita. They don't want anyone on Synthetic using the G8.
I mean, anything that you can get. Right now, this game is looking very important because teams are starting to bridge the gap and start to get like ahead. Redux and Lycus right now are completely lossless. In Control are looking out of control. They are looking absolutely, well, I'm trying to say in a good way. They're looking in control of the roster right now. They're looking really good. I haven't seen them really have a round where they just kind of slip up as much as you would see out of a team. They're very well established. So right now, all these games happening this week is going to be very important. And I think this is one of those games where if Synthetic can kind of take advantage of the fact that Wichita Wolves are on that kind of back end where they don't have a full solidified roster, this might be their time. This might be their time to get their win under their belt and beat a team that nobody expects to beat. So let's see what Wichita Wolves can do with 3 players from their main roster, and let's see if Synthetic can finally take a game that looks very crucial to them.
Yeah, heading into this series, they're really the underdogs. There is a lot of pressure to win this game, and unfortunately, Synthetic has kind of been set up to lose. I mean, you've been basically playing the strongest team in the league for the initial first half of the season, so there is definitely a hill to climb here. We'll be heading to the tertiary bomb site, though. Interesting Warden pick from Crafty. Moves on to the castle, though, so maybe that's hiding a 6 pick, though. I would imagine the castle may be a little bit more likely here for the tertiary site. The Mira and the Malusi bands, though, rounding off what we see removed. I'm pretty comfortable with these bands. I feel like you're probably not going to see too much of a departure in what to expect. You've got the Pulse, though. That's definitely something to watch out for. If you're Wichita, you'll need to be a little bit more careful when you're moving into the master bedroom.
Right. I mean, that's one thing that a lot of teams don't like really take into account is just the number of C4s that you can bring on defense. And that can really play into your advantage whenever upstairs is all but lost for, I guess, your defensive team. Then you can just start tossing out as much C4s as possible with as much information as possible. It becomes a really important mind game where it's like we have to watch out for the C4s. Are the C4s going to come flying right at us? Where are they getting their intel from? Stuff like this can really matter whenever it comes down to like that 1 minute left where you finally have to start transitioning into a bomb site push. But judging by Wichita Wolves and their overall operator pick, I think it's safe to say that they're in a decent position to run this site up. Not as much hard breach as you might want. Obviously, Ace is banned, and he's extremely meta, kind of kicking Thermite out of his seat as a very primary hard breacher. So you can't really make too many entries that you're going to need to. For example, if you're attacking upstairs and you want to use some X-Kairos on the master bedroom wall that A-Man or E-Man, I'll learn how to say it eventually. He's prepping right now with mute jammers. You're kind of going to have to make your decision of, do you want to open that or do you want to open laundry? But other than that, you got your sledge, you have nades, you have Nomad on such a massive map that can really work out. So I think they're pretty much set to run this bomb site. Let's see what they do. Is they're immediately going to begin with a study clear. Drones coming on in. And this is a really good and quick way to start here for Wichita Wolves, as they'll start to contest the players sitting upstairs.
Wasting little time on the clear, we'll see Bestia approach 90, pushes back against Salt, who tried to contest Pig, falling back even further. A bit of a spam shot through the wall, nearly lines up with the Jaeger of Hazmat deeper inside the master bedroom. Still, Wichita attempting to choke out the hold here on the second floor. Gonna want to carry over and make sure they can take control of that vertical play. Salt tagged up super low. Nearby split. He'll have to retreat. I think he's actually going to go play a bullet angle, but you're really gambling. There's no drone, no intel. He's actually got a punch hole here, so not the safest spot to be in. He won't go full rat with the bullet hole, but he manages to get a pick anyway. Shuts down Bestia early, despite being on low health. Still will manage to find that opening kill and relegate the soft breaching back between the Zofia and the Sledge. Devil will go down as well, and Nigel Self lights up from Salt to confirm both the kill and now a double for the Mozzie.
Synthetic on the right foot here, as you haven't lost your hard breach, you haven't lost your sledge. You still have your key operators to attack the round, but now you've lost 2. So 5 versus 3, that's always a really big advantage that a lot of teams start to run away with. If you're not careful on the attack right now with these 3 players remaining, it could get wider and it could just be the round at that point. So Heartbeat Utility, it's used on the pantry wall, but obviously there's somebody playing in pantry. That's A-Man, as I'm getting confirmation. Hazmat gonna lose a little bit of HP, and so far Synthetic are just choking out Wichita. No matter where they want to push from, there's always somebody on the other end just waiting to deny in some aspects. As Faded going to go back to the laundry wall and use his X-Kairos there. 30 seconds remaining, and eventually Wichita are going to have to start to transition this into a site push, but they don't have a lot to work with. 5 players remain on Synthetic, and they're all holding separate crossfires. There's even one all the way upstairs. Salt has retaken control of Trophy, and he could be basically the reason why Synthetic wins this round with possibly a 3rd kill. Tyrant going to lose some HP, but now Salt's just going to waste some time. One drops down into red. Out of ammo, Salt will go down, but he's done so much damage here. Anarchy will take down Fig, but A-Man will get his kill. 2 frags now for Synthetic, and this round is all but over as Tyrant is the last man remaining, and A-Man will take him down. Synthetic will win round number 1. Really well played to them, getting a little bit risky towards the end, but in the end, they were able to hold down their site, and that is the most important part. Synthetic will take that round, and they'll take Kitchen. So now they have the choice between 2 of the most popular bomb sites in the game and 2 of the arguably most easy to hold in the game.
Fortunate there for Wichita. A bit of an issue with the time management. It felt like they weren't too sure in their clear, and then the lack of... I don't want to say it was lack of air jabs, because we've got a Nomad on the board. Maybe Salt just got lucky and was able to shoot it and they didn't hear. It seemed like they had at least some intel. We saw the Zofia rotate back. She was really concerned that someone was inside of Trophy, and ultimately Salt was in there. Yes, he might not have gotten the kill in the end, but the time delay factor, you add that on top of it, it was already 20 seconds. Once he was in there, it's just a major obstacle. And it's not like you can just ignore the Mozzie and push for sight. You've got to take him out, because Mozzie will kill literally everyone. Salt already had 2 kills on the round. He very well could have bumped that up to 4 if he was able to take out the Zofia and the Sledge. And it's a big concern for Wichita early in the game to lack flank coverage. You need to make sure that if you're going to spend all this time in utility taking control of one area of the map, that you don't allow an opportunity for Synthetic to simply walk back up a staircase and immediately take back that control.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing, is that, like, it was the fact that Salt was able to just waste time that kind of helped him out there. Kind of just helped out Synthetic in general. Even if he didn't get a kill, he was just kind of delaying Wichita. He was also getting intel to see that somebody dropped down into Red Hall. So I really liked what Umazi did there. It's a bit risky, obviously, as he ended up losing his life, but I mean, oh well. The round is won for Synthetic. Now the hold gets really interesting as we have Fig and Salt playing underneath this time around. And the way I see it is that they're just going to just hunt down Wichita wherever they go. Wherever they go, Wichita Synthetic will follow. C4 pop, that's on the beam though, but it won't matter actually, as Bestia goes down. Great C4 there from Salt, and he'll get the opening kill without even having to peek. Anarchy also very low on HP, not sure what the source of that is, but Fig is going to rotate all the way downstairs, and Salt's going to stay on the second floor. Devil and Tyrant pushing into Lamps now as they want to get their way in to Zombie Door by the looks of it and start to push down 90. Nothing stopping them there as Anarchy's also on that window, albeit on very low HP. So Wichita can gain control of Study and also behind them, but again, you have to remember that Fig and Salt are just lurking nearby. They're gonna have to be really careful about that.
Fig honestly doesn't even need to get aggressive. He can just sit here the whole time with the pulse scanner and continue to feed this intel to A-Man, to Hazmat, as well as Crafty on the long angle at bar. They don't really need to go anywhere, and he's pretty much free to rotate, seeing as there is no coverage at the main staircase. Hazmat will creep around the corner as he moves into 90. No target spotted just yet, but this could be more map control. That Wichita spend time clearing, they spend time droning it out and fighting back and forth, just for one player on Synthetic to move back in. We'll see Devil manages to shut down Haz, so at least the man advantage now in the favor of the Wolves. Anarchy on low health, though not exactly the person you want to put in one of those heads-up gunfights, but with Fig off the bomb site, still lurking downstairs, A-Man has failed to deny the plant just yet, still up by one. Crafty will have to rotate up and get something done. Still lurking now as he moves back into the site. Anarchy not in the best position to support his teammates. He's got the flank covered. A Nitro Cell will manage to deny the plant, but it also takes one of the Synthetic teammates. That's so unfortunate. Fig with the TK. A nice little one-tap there by Eamon. Still yet to deny this, though. We need to see this diffuser get out of the hands of Wichita. They've got a little bit of time. It's even footing here. We'll see the Zofia. She goes so brazen, moves into the site. A double kill for her. The plant has begun yet again, but they don't spot it. The coverage is there, and Faded closes out the round. Wichita, it looks shaky, but they got it done in the end.
Good round from them. It was a little bit interesting with that team kill. I think that really kind of snowballed the end of that round going to Wichita, but regardless, it's player error, and now you know that it's kind of all owned up to that, and you can move on from that and hopefully fix your mistakes, as they will go into trophy statuary, not even going to try and adapt. And they're bringing a Wamayan Castle, which tells me this might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm wondering if we're going to have a closet extend. I could be completely wrong. The Goyo is also coming out, which is also a pretty big sign of a closet extend. I could be wrong. I could just be wishful thinking because I like seeing interesting holds, but it does look like it. We'll check back later on these players to see if they go for that closet extend. But back to last round. Synthetic, they did not get cleared whatsoever. Wichita Wolves just weren't on them constantly. Synthetic had constant intel. But then Wichita just decided to go for the site. They kind of just said, you know, oh, whatever. Let's go for the site. Let's just see what happens if we aggress the players that are currently stuck in that site and let them rotate to us, and that's exactly what happened. There wasn't really much backlash from Synthetic except for a team kill. So after that, it really turned into just gunfights inside of the site, and the rest of Synthetic showed up late to that kind of rotation party, and it came to be Wichita getting the round based off of coverage. Back to the players, and it is a closet extend. I'm always right. 99% of the time. So
Of course.
I'll be really interested to see how Wichita push this, because so far they really do seem like they're a team that their site pushes are good, but their roam clears can be kind of rough. So now Synthetic are basically bringing the challenge to Wichita. Let's see.
Personally, from Wichita, I'd like to see more of a focus on the roam, or I feel like you kind of need to make a decision. You're going to go for a full roam clear, or you're going to double down on the site push. And from what we've seen so far, it's kind of been a mix of the two. I'm not a big fan of trying to go for a really watered down attack strat like that. Oftentimes, it just is it's largely unsuccessful. Synthetic have put a lot of stock in their roams, so maybe this is the time where you look at the bomb site, you say we're going to move fast, we're going to use all of our utility to clear what remains on the bomb site from defense, and then immediately try to push and go for a bit of a rush strat. We got an interesting little fun fact from our resident analyst Putin. He says, Trophy and Statue has a 61.1% defender win rate, making it the strongest bomb site here for Villa, and I mean, I definitely see why. It's really easy to hold extensions. It's not, you know, like AVG where there's kind of only one big way you can hold it. You can do a lot of creative strats here, and that gives you room to change things up mid-map, so you're not just going back and forth and repeating the same strategies over and over. But Bestia has somehow just managed to rush up inside of Astra, takes down Crafty. Devil will find Hazmat, who was already lowered in a gunfight earlier with Tyrant. The plant going down and no one to stop it. Fig totally occupied by Anarchy, and now Salt inside of Astro. The human drone of the Ash will very likely reveal position, if not the knife will now. He'll have to rotate to find 3 big picks. He doesn't get the first, and Anarchy seals it with a win on Statue. A great plant, and much, much more confident in their attacks. That's what you like to see.
Blink and you miss it. Wichita Wolves just basically took the lazy way out and just said, you know what, we see your extend into closet, and let's just ignore it. We're not going to do anything about it. We're going to let you put all your utility there and then beg for mercy whenever we push the site, and that's exactly what happened. So it does seem like Synthetic are kind of overextending, and Wichita Wolves are responding by just attacking the weak point. And I really like whoever their IGL is and making these calls, because they're really good calls. Like, you're kind of noting out, the IGL's noting out what places just aren't being held as much with as much utility, where we could get one refrag and have the site. And that's exactly what happened. So good calls from Wichita to kind of understand that part, understand where they're pushing from, and basically just nullify all of Synthetic's defense. So definitely concerning for Synthetic, considering that Wichita are kind of on the up and coming, and they've got 2 attacks gone, which is basically your minimum for a decent half split. If Wichita can get a 3-3 on attack, that's a lot to ask for, but it's really good for them. So Synthetic need to change it up a bit, kind of understand what Wichita are doing, and hopefully adapt to it. They're going to be going downstairs to a site, I guess, that they like more than the others. That's going to be kitchen and, excuse me, kitchen and dining. So the way they held this last time was just Synthetic basically playing for time upstairs, and then eventually rotating back up, or having at least one player rotate back up, and then the rest just holding crossfires inside a site. That is your optimal way to play it. But Wichita haven't had a response for it just yet. This is the second time that they'll be attacking the site. Let's see if they can adapt to this as round number 4 goes underway, and we're either going to get a tie here, or Wichita Wolves are going to get a very favorable split score.
If we're talking about the round economics, I think it's important to factor in 2 things. 1, this is Wichita's map, so you're going to want to see them stick to the optimal split. And 2 is what we talked about during the map ban phase, and that's Villa has recently in T3, especially for some of these newer teams, I think Synthetic slots into that category maybe a little bit more than Wichita, but it has started to become a bit more of an attacker-favored map. It's really easy to set up crossfires. There's a lot you can do that the defense, they really just cannot counter. I mean, you set up a couple of good flank drones and air jabs, and you're pretty much good for life from there. We'll see another early contest here, but a big difference in the round. Wichita moving fast, not wasting any time. That'll cost them as Hazmat manages another opening frag 3 times now. I think we've seen Bestia die off the rip, but luckily for the Wolves, we'll see them frag back with 3 incredibly impactful kills, downing and taking out Mozzie, Castle, and the Jaeger. So now the site control, the dining tertiary bomb site, is that much more weak, and you've got all the tools at your disposal in order to open up all this vertical play.
Good stuff here so far from Wichita Wolves. 4 versus 2, and not much Synthetic can do about this. I mean, there's not much of a response, and it's kind of a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. Synthetic really are starting to rely on their picks here, as Fig could have gotten away with the big one, but unfortunately he's going to go down himself. Pantry's going to start to get lost here by Amen, and he is just going to get collapsed upon. Not even sure if his teammate is resable at the position that he's in. He's going to get killed by inside of Tetris by Devil, and now it's a 1 versus 4. Amen's going to take down Tyrant, but obviously Tyrant can res himself, so he's going to have to be quick about that. Diffuser is also going down here. Devil will actually cancel that one. Starting to plant now behind Tetris. Amen retaking from Memorial, but he's only got 17 bullets in that SMG-11 per clip. He can only take down 1, and he won't take down another. Wichita Wolves will take round number 4 and get that favorable split that they really wanted. This is really not looking good for Synthetic. Has back-to-back-to-back. Wichita will win every single site except for the library site on attack. Let's see what Synthetic will do, because I'm pretty sure all their sites are now completely unlocked. Let's see which one they'll decide to go to, because they need some sort of adaptation. It's a little bit difficult the way they're playing this. I mean, they're changing sites every time they lose a round, so they're going to have to adapt to a new playstyle every single time. That could be really overwhelming, so let's see what they can do.
It's kind of a good and bad when you're constantly switching up the bomb sites, because you're trying to frustrate Wichita, figure out which site that they are the worst at, and ultimately try to secure yourself around. So far, it had been that tertiary bomb site. On round number 1, that was the only time we saw Synthetic climb to the top of the mountain and plant their flag. But another concern for me from Wichita is the fact that we're seeing kind of a slope. The first round was a loss. The second round was a pretty close one. We saw the TK. I mean, that's kind of a mistake on Synthetic, more than it was strength in the Wichita offense. But round number 3 was a significant trendsetter. It was a strong plant. It was a strong take of the objective. And round number 4 has a lot of similar aspects in what made round number 3 good. And I think we're starting to see Wichita get a little bit acclimatized. They figured out how they'd like to play this map, and Synthetic are struggling to figure out how they can stop the momentum. And that's huge. If you can't get this done, if we see Wichita take another round, maybe even a 5th to add on, there's hardly a route for Synthetic to fight back into this match, especially if Wichita Wolves are well prepped on their defenses.
Yeah, let's see what they can do here. Obviously, they've just got this upper hand basically sealed right now. Synthetic looking like they want to play this one a little bit more safe. Now, I don't know what to think about this. They have 3 C4s to challenge just basically anyone who goes upstairs. So this could be really good for them if they just want to deal with Wichita indirectly almost. But, I mean, anything they can get right now, they just need to stop being fragged. They're not even getting refragged. They're just getting fragged. First C4 going to be popped here, but nothing going to come out of that one. Tyrant will now be able to basically safely vault inside of 90, and the rest of Wichita Wolves will now start to get themselves in. Salt gonna swing inside of Study. Anarchy is positioned inside of Lamp right now, both separated by a castle barricade. So yeah, I mean, I like the way they're kind of taking this. I think Synthetic are playing this really safe. I think that's what they need. They can't lose way too many bodies whenever the site push eventually does happen, because that's what we've seen like twice now probably, and obviously we saw it happen last round on Kitchen. As I say that, Amen gonna pop that C4, drop the diffuser, and drop Devil, and drop Anarchy down to half HP. So good start there from Synthetic. Now they just need not to get refragged. Salt's gonna take down Faded. Tyrant gonna get the refrag. Hazmat not happy about that one. It's gonna be a 3 versus 4. Amen with a shotgun, and Salt with the P10 Roni, each gonna get themselves a kill of their own, and Synthetic now starting to collapse on top of Wichita. It's all up to Tyrant in a 1 versus 4. Not much he can do in this situation. Tyrant losing his HP. And this one's all but over, as Salt will get yet another. Synthetic take round number 5. A very crucial one to try to equal the half out. Let's see what they can do as they move on to round number 6. Beautiful stuff from them, just getting their picks extremely safely. And it's going to be 2-3.
A nice shot there at the end from Salt, and the passive attack, Wichita, it does not work. It fails and it completely flops, and the passivity that we just saw is not exactly what I think is going to carry Wichita to the end here. When you're playing passive, when you're not going for pushes, you're really leaving yourself open to what I talked about earlier in that Synthetic are a fragging team, they have gun skill, and they will kill you. So when you're playing slow, you're not, moving around, dodging, ducking, sidestepping. You're leaving yourself vulnerable to a freebie for Synthetic. You kind of need to play fast in Loose. You need to almost, in some respects, fight fire with fire. Synthetic are a team that will crumble if you play a strong and fast-moving offense. But the thing is here from Wichita, they aren't doing that. They're playing a very smart, kind of stratted out type of siege that simply does not work versus Synthetic. It's not the strat you want to bring to the table versus them, and I would be very disappointed to see Wichita attempt it again. I think if you move fast, you try to keep up at the same pace that Synthetic are on, that's when you're going to do the best. And you don't want to let Synthetic get to play their game, because that's a lot of beating them is about. If you're playing their game, they know what to expect, and they're going to play like normal. You want to push them off balance. You want to kind of shove them back and forth, figure out what strategy is going to work the best, and ultimately, you might just have to frag when it comes to the end of the day.
I do think that Wichita is one of those teams that can definitely switch up their tempo whenever they feel like it. They can get aggressive, and Hazmat, I don't know if he's blessed. I don't know if that's a blessed kill. I think Tyrant just read you like a book. Good kill there from Tyrant. Hazmat's gonna lose his life here. Upstairs, very unfortunate stuff from him. I'm just kidding. If Hazmat's listening to this in the future or whatever, it's a joke, man. But Wichita Wolves getting that opening frag that they needed. They don't even have to get aggressive for that one. That one was just kind of handed to them as Hazmat got really, really aggressive with that peak. Anarchy now going to start to push himself into Boar. Salt losing a lot of HP, and now Sledge going to capitalize on this. He takes down 90 control, whether he knows it or not. And now Wichita Wolves, I'd say very fairly on the upper hand once they can get themselves inside. So good stuff from them. Great start. I'm not sure what Synthetic are going to have to say about this, obviously, because they've just completely forfeited 90. Tyrant going to get another kill here. Salt, not the best time to be peeking right now, especially when your two mates down. But he is going to do it anyway. Right. His location is going to be very well known to Wichita. He's also on very low HP, and he's got a pea shooter in hand. Tyrant's going to go down finally after doing a lot of damage, however. Salt not taking my advice right now, just getting very aggressive in the face of Wichita Wolves. These kinds of plays could definitely win you rounds, but I wouldn't bet on Salt if I was a viewer.
You want to make sure you can bait out what remains in the utility before the time gets too low, because yes, both Salt and Amen are on low health, but if you give them plenty of freebies here between the gas canisters and the 2 nitro cells, that could spiral out of control very quickly, and it could lead you into a chaotic and very confusing situation, the type of which Synthetic does the best in. The nitro still held in the hand of the mute, waiting for an opportunity here. They might not have the proper intel, but Anarchy manages to shut down Salt downstairs. So now you've lost the vertical play that the Valkyrie will give you. A nitro cell tossed out, but it falls too short, and Devil nearly halfway done with the plant. He'll sit there and choke through the gas, but he doesn't even need it. Anarchy will seal the round. Wichita Wolves go up by 2 at the half.
Good stuff from Wichita Wolves. I mean, that's to be expected. I did think that Synthetic were kind of off the rails there on that half. There was so much aggressive peeking. There was so much, no, go back to site. There was none of that. I mean, there was just no call to kind of tone it down a little bit, and Synthetic lost life after life after life. And there's not much excuses for that, unfortunately. And now you're on defense if you're Wichita Wolves. Even though the map is pretty good for attack, you're still on defense. I mean, defense is always going to be the favorable side in Siege, just with the philosophy of Siege. Especially if you are a smart team, like you said, like Wichita. This could be basically Synthetic's ruining on this first map of this best of 2. Let's see what happens here as we begin the second half. Wichita Wolves are up. They'll be going to Bar and Games. Or I guess Aviator Games. I always get that mixed up.
It's all good. So, in the first half, we saw Synthetic. They focused a lot on their roam games. They were always constantly playing offside. How do you think that translates now onto the offense?
Well, it's probably going to mean basically the same thing when it comes to your peaks. Synthetic are going to get really aggressive. But Wichita are not a very aggressive defensive team. I don't think they are. I think that they are... well, maybe I could be corrected. Maybe Villa... I guess Villa is the map where you can kind of figure out if you are aggressive or not. This is kind of the map where you can set your own kind of tempo, get your own kind of vibe rolling. I think this map, more than anything, is where you do that. Maybe even Coastline. So... I could just be completely wrong, but I think that Wichita, just looking at their setup where they have shields and ADSs, they're going to be playing the clock, not over peaking. They're not getting too over exaggerated.
Yeah, that's something to watch out for, and it's a huge difference in the play styles. I think if Synthetic can start off, get a round win here, that gives them a lot of confidence to continue to play well. But a 5-stack on the veranda balcony is very, I don't know, I don't want to say unusual, it just makes me pretty skeptical. You're going to stack up literally everyone to go for a south side take. Okay, we got the rotate now, so not a full 5-stack. A bit of versatility, and maybe a push to come through from Master. We'll see the rotate now. Hazmat moves up onto the balcony, as well with Fig coming up later and Amen dropping down. Hazmat, though, sent down to 50. An aggressive swing by Devil will net him a bit of damage done to the Ash. And so now, Hazmat, the aggressive fragger, the king of swing, will go down, and he'll have to play a little bit more passive.
See what they can get going with this push, because obviously Wichita Wolves are just meeting them at the halfway mark. I did say the Wolves are going to play very passive, but I'm just dead wrong. And you know what? I'm fine with being dead wrong. I'm learning. I haven't casted this team in a while. So, yeah, really aggressive stuff from them. They're playing the clock, like I said. Half of the round is now gone, and Synthetic are just barely starting to crawl towards that site. Devil might have an idea here in a 5 versus 5. You got to be careful because he's not in a refraggable position, but I don't think anyone is actually near that peak. All 5 players are somewhat positioned near that 90 as Salt starts to push himself in off of Crafty's drone, but Faded still has that rotate, and Tyrant also playing inside of Books could mean that this bar will become a very heavily contested choke point. Really interesting angles from Faded. Again, I can't wait to see these in action. I really want to highlight that. Let's see what happens, though, with 50 seconds left. Amen is going to go down to Tyrant, as I said, inside of Books, and now Devil going to get his own swings on. So it's not too safe right now for Wichita Wolves, but regardless, they'll get a frag of their own. That's going to be 2 going down here as Bestia gets Crafty and Hazmat. What a huge series of picks from that Jaeger. Now, all of a sudden, the round is completely flipped on its head, and Synthetic are looking quite hopeless. Anarchy is going to take down Fig, and beautiful shot there from Salt as he starts to push himself into Chala's spot. But he's completely smoked off, and all the way over from Study, Tyrant is going to find yet another frag. Wichita Wolves will take round number 7 and continue their win streak. 5 rounds for them. Great stuff.
Tyrant, the big mid-game flex playmaker here for Wichita. He's had a lot of impact, a lot of opening engagements, and it doesn't matter that he's got the AUG, a weapon not exactly the most powerful. He's just in a position to get these kills. The simple fact that they never cleared top main is so important, because when a defender gets the opportunity to swing and just come out of nowhere, you're never going to be, you know, in a position to really react to that. Like, how do you react to that? You have to have, like, a Claymore. You need drones, neither of which we saw from Synthetic, because their attack was so much just kind of pick up and go with it.
Pick up and go with it, I think, is just the way that you kind of... I like that. You just vibe. Just let it happen. Let the ball roll. But, I mean, Synthetic... Let's get a little bit morbid here. This is not the best. This is not the best first impression. I'm looking at these names, man. Synthetic got some nuts players. Salt absolutely popping off. Amen, great stuff from him. I think Synthetic have a lot of potential right now to kind of take this. They are looking like they're very excellent players. I'm glad that I'm casting them. Kind of like the young blood of SCS to me, or kind of just like young blood of comp to me. I think that they can rock and roll against Wichita Wolves, but right now Wichita Wolves are just schooling them, to say the least. Their strats are wacky. They've got some interesting offsite plays, and Synthetic can't really adapt to it that well. So something needs to give. Calls need to happen, and something needs to happen just in general against this controls. Frags need to go your way. You got to be careful what crosses you're holding. Make sure you don't over peak. And maybe, just maybe, you'll put Wichita Wolves in a very pressure situation. Got quite a lot of time, if you are Synthetic here, to try and recover this. But Wichita Wolves are only 2 rounds away. So let's see what happens. Tyrant not going to waste any time getting his aggressiveness on. Hazmat going to get himself into Closet. And the rest of Synthetic looking like they're going to go for this master bedroom play. Actually, seems like a split take, because you also have drones happening on the other side of the map, all the way over by Study. Bestia dies right outside a zombie door by Fig, who will claim his first kill, and a very important one at that, as the Rome is now starting to get pressured from both the south side and the east side. Assault now positioned inside a lamp. Fig gonna find a second kill here as he gets in the trophy. He'll take down 3 beautiful shots here from Fig. That man had 0 kills, and now he's on the board, and he might just give the round here to Synthetic. Beautiful stuff there from the Gridlock. It's not over just yet, but still, what an amazing play from him.
Might not have had any kills previously, but the impact in this round, you gotta talk about that. Shutting down the Roamer. We saw how effective Bestia was in the previous round, coming up by Red, finding 2 freebies, attacking AVG. The fact that we see Bestia go down here with nothing, with no kills. And Hazmat, the only one to die so far. Now we'll see Fig finally taken out by Faded, the sole person with kills on the round. Faded and Anarchy, though, will have to really pull off quite a stunt here. A minute to go. The vertical play, and now the Pulse is dead. Only 1 defender remains. Faded, it seems like his position is understood. A frag grenade could be sent his way, though the angle will be difficult to achieve for A-Man. He's watching through the floor. Yet to spot this player. He's gonna cook another frag grenade. Drops it down into China. Faded, sent sprinting through grass. He runs into Memo. Bots the Hibana on the transition. Manages a 3rd kill for the round. The Sledge still, though, rotates back upstairs, waiting for an opportunity. Cuts him down as he enters. Well, Synthetic finally managed to get a clean round under their belt.
A clean round at that. Really excellent play from them. Very patient, and also just catching out Wichita Wolves on their ones. I would say good positioning from them. Excellent pushes, great drone work as well. Getting that intel and getting that person into trophy to do the dirty work. So good stuff from them. This could be the recovery round that they need, as they can kind of get a sigh of relief under them and start to push Wichita Wolves out of that safe position that they have currently 2 rounds ahead of Synthetic. They're winning this race right now, but we always say that the tortoise wins the race for the. I don't know if it's actually a quote. Is it a quote? It's like the tortoise wins the race over the hare. It's a. I don't know. I read that in like 1st grade. You know what I mean? I mean, like, unless you're living under a rock, you should know what that means. But maybe it is just what is going on. Is this inverted?
Oh God.
What is going on?
This is the channel points reward. So now we're playing Siege 6 Rainbow.
Which one of you gremlins decided to spend your channel points on this?
Who did this?
Wait, so can they see inverted, or do like?
No, yeah, no. Everyone
They're
sees
inverted
inverted.
too.
This is 5 seconds to go. Yeah. Okay. Well, can I like cast in Pig Latin, or like?
I mean, if you want to take it away and cast in Pig Latin, then go for it, man.
I don't know Pig Latin, so that is a significant barrier.
Well, there's the issue.
Yeah, there's the issue. This gives a whole new issue, so we'll see
now I'm looking at the operator icon, seeing like Hibana's hair flow like that, seeing the smoke on the wrong side of Maestro's thing. Gridlock looks sexy inverted. What the heck? I kind of want this. I kind of want Gridlock to be inverted, Yubi. If you're listening, she looks sexy like that. She's got that glance going on. Stuff's happening though, but we can only we can only see it upside down. Or
we've got a west to east clear. You don't see this all too often. Oh, this is really tripping me out. Nice shot there through the wall. The kill feed on the wrong side though, so we'll see. It looks like that was Twisty goes down. I think A-Man gets the frag. We'll see another kill go by as Wichita down by a huge margin. Site control may soon follow, and it seems all of the defenders are running like mad trying to figure out what to do here. A Nitrocell flies out, but it won't connect except for a large portion of damage done to the Hibana. Yet another repeat here from Nagoyo. Maestro shooting a drone as he tries to fend off the attacking push as they materialize outside of red. A frag grenade sails in, the ADS manages to capture it. We'll see more defender, rather attacker utility begins to waste. It's all getting tossed out here. The attacker push soon to follow. Maestro goes down. The Goyo left to fend off 4 attackers. The strong push from Synthetic seems to be the last mile marker here for Wichita Wolves. The Goyo tries to rotate out. He runs for his life, but cut down quickly.
I won't lie, I don't even know who won the round. This is like, so it was Synthetic. That was an eyesore. But anyway, we're gonna be 4-5. All the left-handed people are very happy right now with what they just saw, but all the other people watching that are human beings or not. But yeah, really good stuff there from Synthetic. I'm just gonna spout now because I really didn't understand what I was looking at. I was really focused on the way that the lights were faced. The rooms looked just completely different.
From what I saw, it was a study aviator take. There wasn't really much in the way of the defenders to find success. They got cut down really early. A lot of opening kills for Synthetic, and Wichita really crumbled once it fought back into the bomb site itself. There was a big stack up by Synthetic, and typically when you're, kind of hanging out outside of red, it is a bit of a difficult process to move in at trophy and statue. But it seems there just wasn't enough remaining there from Wichita in the way of utility to stop that. The manpower was lacking. Synthetic had plenty of drones, plenty of time left to maneuver, and ultimately they'll take the round, moving us one step closer to tying up the game.
I think I'll take your word for it. 10 seconds remaining. But yeah, good stuff there from Synthetic, and that was a really important round that I couldn't understand because it was flipped. But other than that, Wichita Wolves now, they find themselves in quite the uncomfortable position. As you can see, if Wolves lose this round, it's really dire straits for them. Synthetic are on the really on the uphill. They're snowballing themselves to a victory, and Wichita, on the other hand, they're struggling. They thought they had it. They thought they had him. They thought that they could finally push into match point, considering that they had a 3-round gap. But now it's not that. It's not like that. It's completely different. It's now almost even. Hazmat gonna get the opening frag. He's gonna take down 2. Hazmat, great stuff from him. G36 might not be the popular weapon of choice, but he's making it work. Rocking that down the alleyway as he takes down Devil as well. Starting to push into 90 and Zombie Door. So, good start here from Synthetic. Really important round. So, let's see what happens.
I was gonna say for a second there that Hazmat is on the way to improve. Cut down in the end, so he doesn't get very far in that goal, but 2 kills on the round as well as an entry. It's got to be one of his first entries of the season. He just gets killed a lot, and unfortunately his survivability rating on that entry roll probably not doing the hottest. And we'll see a flank from Tyrant, so another kill in the mid round. We'll see him gun down Salt and now make it an even fight, though with Decade off the objective, the site is significantly weakened. Never mind that, though. A Nitrocell. He'll manage to take out Aim, Fig finally stops the killing spree for the Cade. Fig gets the kill, and now a 2v2. We're back at even odds with 1 minute and 15 seconds to get the execute underway. Waiting and baiting. Pre-fires continue to come out. A Valkyrie camera spotted and removed. The gas canister detonated. Maybe a bit mistimed there. You want to save those up for the execute. A rotate from Crafty. He'll move over hard bridge the wall, so now the smoke will live in fear. Or rather, the Maestro, actually. He tries to impact it. Manages to get actually all of them. Though the feet, you gotta watch out, Anarchy! Ooh, playing a dangerous game there. Crafty almost manages to get a nice clip kill. Another gas canister tossed out, though only one should remain for Faded.
2 versus 2, and this is probably one of the most important 2v2s of these teams' entire season. as this could determine the entire map. It's gonna go gridlock down, Fig is down, and now it's gonna be the smoke that ends up stealing the kill away from Anarchy. Amazing retake here from Synthetic, from Wichita Wolves, and Synthetic are now behind 2 rounds, and Wichita Wolves are poised to take Villa. No excuses from here on out. Let's see what happens, as Synthetic are gonna need to claw their way into OT, which I believe is Infinite, if I'm not wrong. So
You're correct.
I don't know if that's the most, I don't know if I would be completely happy with even getting into OT if I was Synthetic. So let's see what happens here, as Wichita Wolves just want to close the gates and shut this round and leave this map behind them.
One thing to look at here, I think Synthetic would at least want to get to the OT for that consolation prize, because you get a point. So there is, you know, for the effort that you put into fighting your way, you get to OT, you get 1 point, and you also take away a point from Wichita. So if they won in OT rather than a win in regulation, they'd get 2 points compared to 3. So there is kind of a risk and reward there in terms of the effort you put in. And Synthetic could desperately use that point. They want to get anything here. And they're pretty close to getting it as well. They're, I think, currently, I want to say 9th in the standings. So, you know, a boost here would be good. I'm not sure if it would catapult them, how far it would catapult them if they can win. So let's say they move this to OT and then they win an OT on their map. That would give them at least 3 points. So the same as a standard win. I think that would be, you know, all thumbs up from Synthetic. They want as many they can get. It doesn't matter how they've got to get them. They just want to make sure that they don't fall too far down in the standings, or at least farther than they have already fell. But take a look at this. Wichita Wolves have 2 people on site. The rest are likely upstairs. So we've got a full stack extension. Nearly everyone trying to slow down the assault here from Synthetic.
Hazmat looks like he's chasing down a ghost right now as he's trying to get himself in to Sarah's control. Anarchy's also got his number right now. Pings are coming on out. Hazmat's location is very well known. Salt's going to take down Bestia to get the first frag here. Spot. I think that Ella must have spotted out the Ash's legs right now, but she is trapped behind a shield. Beautiful shot there from Tyrant as he takes down Hazmat to equalize out the man count. Now he's just going for swings here as players are starting to push into lamps. Salt will get himself inside. Tyrant losing a lot of HP right now, but Anarchy also as well. The HP game just not going good here for Wichita Wolves. Devil with the FMG will take down Amen, but Salt will take down 2. As a matter of fact, 3 the entire round, as Devil and Tyrant will go down, and Salt will help Synthetic take control of the top floor. Might even find a 4th. Wow. Anarchy's on 1 HP right now due to his misplay with the cardiac sensor, and Salt is going to take advantage of this. He knows that that pulse is extremely low. Now it's only faded on full HP, but all these players are low. As a matter of fact, any bullet will kill them. So this is really going to come down to a game of swings and unpredictability. Fig will go down, and he will get taken out by Faded. It's going to be a 2 versus 2. Yet another 2 versus 2. Last round, I said that this might be the most important 2v2 of their season. Let's scratch that for a second, because this is where it all comes down. This is where it all matters. This entire map is decided by this 2v2. With 50 seconds left, is it going to be Crafty and Salt to come out on top, or is it going to be Faded and Anarchy?
Well, if you're Anarchy, you are not pulling out that cardiac sensor ever again on the round, because you were so worried about Salt upstairs. You almost got a kill. It can be so kind of confusing and difficult to kill someone with the cardiac sensor out, just in the same way it is when they've got a camera. It's just kind of a guessing game you've got to play. 25 seconds on the clock, though. Salt moves in. He doesn't spot the player holding bullet holes through the wall. Anarchy, despite he's on low health, manages one, but cut down quickly in the refrag. Crafty will need to seal this kill. He rounds the corner through China, but the SMG-11 Wichita Wolves take Villa 7-4 in regulation.
What a close ending there from Wichita Wolves. And that's going to be wraps here for Villa. But that was way closer than the scoreboard can ever read for you. Synthetic almost inching themselves a victory. But now we're going to move on to Kafe, where I think Synthetic is the one that actually picked that map. So if I'm not mistaken, Wichita Wolves are going to start out on defense. I could just be completely wrong and look like an idiot. I probably do. But either way, great stuff there from Wichita Wolves as they take map number 1 out of 2, and a very good showing from both teams. I'm excited for Kafe now.
Oh yeah, guys, that was a fun game. All flipping aside, in any case, I'm looking forward to Cafe without that. But oh my lord! But yeah, I mean,
That was
Synthetic, they started pulling
interesting.
it back. I was a little bit worried at the beginning when it was 4-2 in the opposite sort of sides you would expect for that split. But all things considered, they pulled it back. They had a good showing. Hazmat got a couple kills, so their team showed up. I would say. So I think going into Cafe, even though it is Wichita Wolves, I believe, on defense first on that one, like you guys were saying, we'll see some big things come out for sure. So, but I think that it is time for our analysts to come on in. We only have one on desk today, so Stickula Jazz, go get a drink of water, take your break. We'll get Putin on up in here and get on talking about what he saw in the round, or game, I should say, so far. Putin, hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, man? You're looking a little bit like Emperor Palpatine right now.
Honestly, I forgot my blinds were open, so
Oh, fair.
Here. Yeah?
No, I
Yeah?
mean, I could see you fine. I was just talking about the hood. I was just making a joke. But yeah, no, in any case.
Alright, I'll go back to Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, somebody
So-
cue up the Imperial March in the background, May. I know you.
Disney just goes straight after us. Oh, man.
All right. Well, I see you queued us up round number 1. What you got, my friend?
Yeah, so let's get right into this. So before I start to discuss the round, I want to kind of go over the win rate for defenders for this site. So I chose this site because this is statistically the worst rated site to go as far as win rate. So it's a 43.7% win rate on Kitchen so far in SCS. And so for me, seeing that, I was like, okay, these guys are definitely going the offsite, trying to throw them off, going in a little bit confident. And then more into the round, I want to really show like their movement and everything else because they won that round solely off of those roamers. And then once it gets closer to, so we see this Ash playing 90. So Ash, she eventually got picked off by the Mozzie who's playing inside Trophy. But the one thing that I want to point out is the Jaeger. He was originally playing over in that area. He switched off with the Mozzie because like, hey, you got a 1.5 scope. Hold this pixel peek behind this trophy bar, and you'll soon see it once they show it. And that communication on the roam really is what stood out to me the most. How are you feeling about the round?
I really like this round from Synthetic from all the points that you just mentioned there for sure. All their players really did what they needed to do. They fell back when they needed to. They were communicating. They got their frags. And that really is all that you need for a solid, effective defensive round. And I think that's where Synthetic sort of fell off a little bit towards the end of their defensive half. But in any case, it was a really solid showing for them first round. So if they would have continued with that trend, like I was mentioning, I think they could have potentially pulled away with a 3-3 split. We might be seeing in overtime right now, but in any case, here we are. It was 7-4, but
yeah, it was. So one thing I want to look at as well is Wichita Wolves. Wichita Wolves, they were honestly doing really great. Their attacks, they did pick up towards the end by the split. I think it was like, what, 4-2 split?
it was 4-2 in favor of them, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that was really weird though, Wichita Wolves couldn't win any site but Aviator.
Really? On their defense? Or,
Yeah, because yeah,
Huh.
so when I saw that Wichita Wolves, they only won their 2 Aviator rounds, then their other rounds they didn't win, which is why Synthetic won, was, to me, that may show that they're not confident on the other sides, or maybe that VOD review was done by Synthetic, and they're just like, hey, usually Wichita Wolves does this and this and this, let's counter him and do that, because statistically, Aviator is the second best site, which is really weird. So the best rated site is the trophy site for for Villa. There we go. Has a
Right.
61.1% win rate. So when I saw that they couldn't win that, I knew it was more on the ends of comfortability.
Yeah, really good point. I mean, if you aren't comfortable on a site like that, especially where you have to sort of be, flexible, you have to be ready to roam, because if you all just sit on site, it's not a really defensible site if you're just anchoring. There's really no way that you can, eliminate the crossfires that you can set up and things like that. So I think what Synthetic was doing in that first round was great, but they didn't really play like that the remainder of the map. Well, I guess that was first floor, and I'm taking it too far into context on round one. But you know what I mean. You can apply the same context to that upstairs trophy statue site.
Mm. Oh, it's so true. So like now that we have the blackboard up, so this little artwork, this was drawn by Chief. So this is Chief's drawing of Ash. I just
Oh my god.
wanted it to feature it for you guys. So no hitbox Ash. Really really nice artwork.
Jesus. Chief and his drawings, I swear. If you ever need like really terrible artwork or really great artwork, I guess I should say. I don't want him flaming me. But if you need really great artwork, you guys hit up Chief Casts on Twitter. But yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
He's really cheap too.
Yeah, he's $0.
Yeah. Oh man. So let's go ahead and get into this. So one thing I found that was weird was this Sledge. He was the droner for the Nomad. For me, I feel
Really?
like those, yeah, so that's what I saw. So
Huh.
when they took control of Aviator, the Sledge immediately went onto drone. This Nomad started pushing up, placing her Nomad charges, holding on angles onto Master, and like the Sledge was droning up. To me, that's really good teamwork because Nomad, she shouldn't be on a drone. She should definitely be placing those Nomad charges. So playing the roles correctly was definitely done. And then looking over onto 90, we saw no hitbox Ash. She was contesting towards Wolf side, and then Zofia obviously right behind her. But we did see from that angle Mozzie holding on the middle door through the pixel peak on the table. Ash got eliminated. Zofia was able to pinch in. The others were able to pinch in. But what ended up happening was they couldn't really do it in time. It really just resulted in time. They just had to end up rushing site. So it was honestly props to the roamers. They're the ones who won that round.
Yeah, that's the one thing with Villa that's really, really hard to overcome as an attacker is the fact that you can get bogged down very quickly because this site or this map, I should say, is set up in such a way that there's maybe one, maybe two entrances from each side. So, like if you look, obviously at the top of that screen where the Mozzie is placed, you've got two entrances into the site from that direction, two entrances from the right side, and then two entrances from the south side. So, if you sort of get stacked up on those, there's not a whole lot of flexibility and you have to just sort of push through. So if you sit there and wait for it to happen, it's not going to happen as an attacker. So that's something very valuable to look at. But I do want to make a point real quick. I know this isn't related to analytics, but for all of you guys that are watching right now on the Twitch stream, we do have a giveaway going on, and it is some SCS merch, a flag and a sticker. So if you are interested in getting into that, definitely check out our Twitter. I'll send the link on the official account here into the Twitch chat soon. But Putin, I think with that being said, my friend, we'll be back with some more in-depth analytics going into our second series of the day. So have fun watching Cafe. I know it's going to be a barn burner for sure. But Sticula Jazz, come on back, my friends. Let's hear from you again. Oh my lord, what happened there? I thought that was like Sticula's camera or something like that going into the nether regions, but no, it was actually just a little bit of a transition thing. But Sticula Jazz, I think Sticula's actually deafened. But how are you, Jazz? Oh, and you're muted. Oh my god, everything's happening right now. My
Sticula's, oh god. This is like the second time this has happened. I hate it here. But yep. Really, really good stuff from Putin, a one-man analyst, but he's able to make it work. And obviously, I love the Desco system we got going on. So it was a pleasure, Mr. Host Desk, for being with us. But map number 2 is underway. Cafe Dostoevsky is coming on out, and Wichita Wolves just won Villa. So really good stuff from them, and they have the defense on Cafe. So this could get interesting.
Certainly could. So we'll have standard bans again. I mean, Thatcher, Ace, and Wilma, you don't get much more stock standard than that. Maybe a Capital in for the Ace, but ultimately, there's probably no suggestions I would make. The final ban likely going to be something between a Mira, maybe a Mira Valkyrie. Who knows? We'll see the Mira come through. So, yeah, this is really about the most standard game of Cafe you could ask for. A normal kind of rigorous meta game, likely what I expect. With the Wamai ban, though, it makes holding the top floor considerably more difficult. That pixel position, which is oh so powerful, will now be much more concerning.
Right. I do think that that's kind of like your main, I guess, most default push is kind of like getting somebody out of pixel. And with the operator lineup that you have without the Wamai, that could be really challenging. You can send nades in a lot much easier. Obviously, Jaeger is still very, very good, and I can't imagine a realm where he won't be the biggest challenge here for the attacking team if they want to clear out that pixel. We also have a Malusi and a Goyo, so this could get really, really rough, to say the least, for the attacking team, just based off of the utility that we see on our screen.
So, the largest question, the big thing that I'm looking at here is how Synthetic are going to play. Because on the previous map, we saw how really loose they played on the roams. They were always kind of waiting offside, and then on the attack, they were incredibly aggressive, constantly leveraging the fragging power of Salt, Fig, and Hazmat to go in on entry and shut down any extension. Anyone offsite from Wichita often was either A, instantly punished, shut down, taken off, no questions about it, or the roam clear fell flat on its face. It was one of the two. Obviously, by the score count in what we saw for the second half, it was a little bit more in the unsuccessful column, I guess you could say, with Wichita closing it out. But this is Synthetic's map. This is their home territory. It's time for them to show us what they prepared for and what strategy, what tactics they have prepared in order to fell the Wolves.
Well, I will say that Synthetic aren't really the team that outstrat Wolves, I don't think, but I do agree that Synthetic could really get their frags here. I think that's what's really been spearheading a lot of their attacks, is just their ability to get frags. See if anything changes. As Fig, wow, that is Devil all the way bottom red.
Yikes.
That is all the way at the bottom. That is so rough. Oh my goodness.
Don't even need to outstrat him. Just kill him. Just get the
just
opening
shoot him.
frag at a pixel angle. Okay, well, way to go, I guess, Devil. No longer are you worried about that coverage, and lucky for Fig, he was able to get at least one of the track stingers off, but now a free rotate will be had for anyone that tries to come up white. Bistia holding pixel with no shield, but a Nitro from Devil will take down Hazmat. Another frag goes the way of the Malay, up by 2. Wichita, a good start for them on the map. Salt still waiting on the rappel, but Devil, he might try to go for a third, and he might just get it. Bestia finds Crafty. Will Devil attempt the run out? Unsure just yet, and Salt is actually returned back to the safety of the rooftop. Amen crawling in as he makes his way through the breach, goes back on the drone, wants to get this intel. They've got a Maestro holding inside of bar. The bandit seems unsure, or rather I want to say the Jaeger. He just gets a kill anyway. He manages to find Eamon, and now Salt will have to find an ace. A 1v5 clutch to keep this round alive. It's not happening. Wichita Wolves take a flawless round to kick off Kafe.
That is just the most beautiful round that I've seen of Kafe. Everything, you want to call that flawless? I'm pretty sure that if I think it was just one player that took damage. If he didn't take damage, that would have been literally the most perfect round of Siege ever played. That was the cleanest thing that I've ever seen from Wichita Wolves. Synthetic just weren't able to respond. Frags were coming left, right, and center, and there was no angle to really challenge off of that. It was constant angles that you just can't challenge. Like, I mean, you had, for example, Devil all the way bottom red. Such an obscure angle, but when you think about it, that's so strong. Who's gonna refrag that? If everyone's on a roof, who is gonna refrag him? Really good stuff from Wichita Wolves. Great angles being held by them. And that follows round will take them into round number 2. And not looking up yet for Synthetic, but we've seen their fragging power. Let's let a few of the players on Synthetic wake up, and maybe we could get a little bit of a different result.
My concern is that the first map, Villa, that should have been the time to wake up here for Synthetic. And credit to a lot of their players. They had a pretty decent run. Notably, Salt, I think he might have achieved double digits. I'm interested to see what the statistics are like for that match, because you mentioned that the score count 7-4 did not reflect how close that game was. Ideally, it should have gone to overtime for me, and I felt like that it kind of felt like an overtime game in that it was so back and forth. The game was really hard fought. Synthetic had some good clutch ups. They were able to, in a few rounds, figure out how to fight off Wichita, and some mistakes as well from Wichita did cost them a little bit. We'll see an atypical setup here from Synthetic. They're gonna go for kind of like a hell door push and then clear out from pillar. No focus at all to moving for the top floor clear. Maybe they've already got pre-placed drones that have identified no one is up there. It's fully cleared, but you still got the castle waiting on red. He could try to go up and take control of the third floor, but actually just decides to rotate back down. Not going to choose to contest red stairs today. Synthetic will move in. They actually haven't fully droned out the top floor. That is currently in progress, but Synthetic and the rest of, or Hazmat and the rest of Synthetic, they are moving to take control of the first floor. If they can get this done, if they can sufficiently clear the top floor to make sure that they're fully confident no one is up there, and then move the next step to achieve the vertical play, this could be a fairly on-time round for them.
Hey man, gonna get himself above and get some soft destruction down to kind of pressure Wichita inside of sight. This is a site that can get really difficult to actually pressure because the angles of attack that you have are very limited. You want to get yourself inside a bakery. If you can't do that, start working your way downstairs from the freezer side. If you can't do that, go through red. That's about it though. The site is a very safe one. The only way that you can kind of make that feel unsafe is from above, and I do think they're doing an excellent job at that. Bunker going to be pre-fired on by the Ash. Faded going to lose a lot of HP off of that, and he's also got players to worry about on the freezer drop. So I wouldn't say he is feeling too comfortable right now. Hazmat opening frag now onto Anarchy, and that freezer rotate provided by Wichita could really work against them. Nade will take Bestia barely down, but Hazmat, what a position from him. Tyrant is watching him from the brown bar, but this could also be a really easy frag if Bestia backs up into it. He'll take down Crafty though before he gets too dangerous, and will drop the diffuser, meaning that Synthetic are low on options. As well taking down Hazmat, not even needing Tyrant inside of brown bar. Instead, Bestia will get the dirty work done by himself. Bestia trying to look for a third. He'll take Salt down to very low HP, but won't finish the job. 30 seconds remaining now, and a 3 versus 3 where Synthetic will finally recover the diffuser. And Fig challenging from brown stairs. He sees the Goyo inside of brown bar, who's just alive and well, but Salt will take down his second kill. Beautiful stuff from him. 19 seconds remain, and the side push has to happen. Fig has a very dangerous angle here that he could use for his attack. Faded will take down Aemon, which means the diffuser is dropped, and something needs to give here, as both Salt and Fig gonna push through double. Big will take down one, but he can't take down the other. It'll be Dello to swoop in for 2 important kills, and Wichita Wolves will take another round. Not as flawless as the first, but regardless, a round for them. Wichita Wolves are now going to go to a tertiary bomb site with 2 rounds under their belt. Good stuff from them. Great crossfires especially, and they'll show why basement can be such a challenging site for the attack.
Well, Sin focused so much on going for this vertical clear. They spent a lot of time drawing out, making sure partners or waiting to top them. Unfortunately, because of how much time they sunk into that, they couldn't ever really get a strong handle on clearing the first floor utility. That castle barricade provided a significant obstacle. The Maestro wasn't ever cleared out. I think he was just kind of hiding inside a coat check. He was able to flank up. One player, the Zofia, had already been down, so really in that instance, he just needed to take out the final standing attacker, and he did just that. He confirmed the kill onto the down player and secured the round. When you're Synthetic, you need to do all of those steps. You can't just do half of them. You don't, do the assignment halfway. You've got to complete it. And Synthetic did not do that. They skipped steps, especially crucial ones. The utility burn is a big part of Siege in the current meta. And electing not to do that, choosing to simply and brazenly ignore it, is not going to get you anywhere fun, especially when Wichita are a well-learned team and they know how to play with their utility. If Synthetic don't expand and dedicate more time to clearing it, you are going to see the fruits of their labor.
run out here by Tyrant. He's got quite the weapon in hand, but I don't know if it's the best spawn peeking weapon. I really like what they did with Roni and how they gave it a 1.5x. That is so good. I think the 1.5x is good. A lot of people don't like it. I definitely think the reticle is a bit too bulky, but I like it. I think it's a really good sight. I feel like it'd be cool if they put it on every gun. I think that's a good way to balance. I mean, I don't know. I'm not Ubisoft, but then again, I think that's a good thing. As of right now, at this very second in time. Regardless, Fig gonna get himself into Cigar, and right now, what Synthetic are doing is really aggressive because, or not really aggressive, but they're gonna have to be really careful. Bestia, his fragging power is pretty good. What the heck? Faded off screen is just gonna get a double kill and just laugh it off. That is the making of a psychopath, first of all. But second of all, a beautiful double from him. And Salt will trade it back with a double of his own. Fig will fall, and this is a very fast round here as a 2 versus 3 ensues here. Synthetic trying to get themselves on white. Faded will take down a third kill. And now all of a sudden, it's all up to Salt. Let's see what he can do here as he's gotten 2 so far. He might be able to get the ace, but it's very unlikely because right now the positioning is so good. The time, he's got a lot of it, but the positioning is so spread out here by Wichita Wolves. It's like you're going to have to face a one-on-one gunfight each time. Diffuser's being held right now by the Wolves. I'm not very happy if I'm Salt. He's not even facing the right direction as Anarchy's just going to get him from behind, and Wichita Wolves will take round number 3, and they're looking indomitable right now. Beautiful stuff from them.
The Wolves absolutely rocketing out to a start here, not even facing the same issues we saw in Villa, where intermittently winning rounds. No, a flawless rotation to a completely clueless round from Synthetic. I mean, everyone just kind of died in some random position on the top floor. A Nitro Cell, so effective by Faded to start that round off. What do you do when a Nitro Cell detonates and 2 of your teammates just suddenly fall out of the sky? Like, that's not really a situation that you can prepare for. They were not ready for it, and Synthetic paid the dear price. The Diffuser sat in a very awkward position, sat in the corner of Cigar Shop. And what did Goyo do? He just sat up there and guarded it. And unfortunately, I don't think in the dying seconds of the round, the remaining attacker, it just was not careful enough. Salt was not prepared for a Goyo to be camping the Diffuser, and that's kind of the issue when you lose track of the Diffuser. It creates a situation where the defense can kind of, you know, I don't know, just hide in a corner, maybe put a Nitro below it, do some kind of kooky trick to just completely slam you. And that's exactly what happened. The Goyo didn't even come up with like a 500 IQ plan. He just sort of sat on New Balcony and waited for the last player to come back and get it. He knew that you have to recover the Diffuser eventually, and even were he to have gotten the Goyo in that scenario, recovered the Diffuser, and moved to attack the bomb set, it still would have been a 1v2, and frankly, with little time, with no pre-established plan of action, a clutch of that caliber simply looks impossible.
I agree. I think it's just, it was really well played by Wolves, and all these rounds have just been so beautiful. Bestia already getting himself very low on HP. He's been a very powerful player so far this map, so I'm not sure how to feel about that one, but Synthetic, regardless, won't be able to claim the frag entirely, and now Wolves are going to be able to kind of snowball this into, or hopefully start to snowball this into their own round, or Synthetic, excuse me, hopefully are going to be able to snowball this into their own round. See, 3rd time's a charm. Hazmat now getting himself into red, and it seems like Synthetic are just going to try and waste no time as they get into Piano, and right now, Wichita Wolves, they've got themselves quite good positions. Very passive, nothing going on too out of the extreme. They're going to play this one very passive because look at that. Look at the holes they have and the amount of angles that they can establish. It's going to be really powerful for them.
Window prepped. Maybe Devil's got an idea that he wants to go for a run out. I think most of the Sin attackers are in positions that are unavailable to that run out, or they're literally on the interior of the building. You've got The 3 players structured around New Balcony as well as Cigar Shop, and then you've got somebody on the roof hatch. Faded finds the opener. Oh, a dangerous game here with this Evil Eye. It could almost confirm Fig. Crafty goes down as well, confirmed now by Tyrant. The reaction shot from Hazmat. He managed to find some impact through the round, and Fig has been picked back up. So, nearly at even odds. You both got Fig and Bestia low on HP. Wichita, they've got at least some additional manpower, though, and because the Banshees are on the board, you've got gas canisters in pocket. That's plenty of utility that you can waste. You can burn down the clock. We'll see 2 more frags. Bestia and Devil will pitch in, and now Hazmat, the entry fragger, the Ash main, the ranked gunner of this team, will be their sole hope to prevent a 4th uninterrupted round. There is no answer from Synthetic. The phone lines are cut. There's not a sound to be heard.
Hazmat will take down 2, I guess. No phone lines, but bullets, and Tyrant will finish the deed. Wolves! Wow. I mean, what is there to say? Beautiful, beautiful throw, by the way. This is just... this is a beating, unfortunately. Synthetic has yet to respond. And the way that I see it, Synthetic are a very good attacking team. The way that they've been playing out, most of their rounds have come from attack last game. But this is just not, I don't know if this is the same Synthetic that we saw in Villa. Because despite the 7-4 scoreline, that was a very, very close game. It was a really close game, and I think that Synthetic really had the upper hand when it came to like their mentality, understanding what they were doing, and adapting. But right now, their minds are in the gutter. They are so down because they have lost 4 rounds in a row. So, I don't know. This is not looking too good for Synthetic. The scoreline says it all. I was I'm kind of the guy that likes to be optimistic and be like, well, yep, the scoreline doesn't really mean that much. It kind of does here. It kind of does.
Yeah. The problem I just have, we talked about this earlier, it's the morale, it's the motivation, and it's the momentum. None of which Synthetic has. They are, in all stretches of the imagination, down bad currently. They have had no luck so far. A lot of their attacks have been flops. They've been, true to their former name, the Floppas. They have been flopped attacks that have suffered from a lot of very crucial structural issues. The entry game for Synthetic is about as alive as, I don't know, a cemetery. It just seems like their entries are immediately refragged, and the same is not true vice versa. It's not when Wichita gets an impact frag, it's the opener, it's refrag. No, a lot of times it goes untraded and contributes to a large part of wasted time on the round. And it's hard to come up with a solid plan here for Synthetic because it's kind of like starting a car with no gas. It just doesn't work. You need to have that gas in the tank in order to get going here for Synthetic. And they already lost the initial map. They didn't get the consolation point after failing to bring it to OT. And it looks like their own map pick is starting to slip away from them. Luckily, an opener is finally here, the entry frag for Eamon. Manages to shut down Anarchy. Nearly a second here. Bestia risking his life inside of VIP. He's down now. And Ash breaching around the Goyo moves up though, and he manages to get it. An expert kill by Tyrant prolongs the life of Bestia, who may just be able to get revived provided the proper support from his teammates and a lack of coverage from the rest of Synthetic.
This is the same push that we saw last time from Synthetic, but it's looking much, much more smoother now that you have the pressure inside of VIP alleviated from the players of Wichita Wolves. You can kind of get yourself inside, but no, the crossfires are still established, and Devil's going to go on a Saving Private Ryan mission, and that's going to be droned out, but there's nobody that can capitalize on it. And Synthetic, I was going to say that they had such a good opportunity, but they're going to make an opportunity their own. Nobody's inside of the site. Crafty's going to go down, however. There's a player inside of Rice. Fig will get the double kill, though. He'll take down Faded, and it's going to be a 2 versus 2. All players really on low HP. A-Man all the way from above. Beautiful hold from him, and now it's all up to Devil. 81 bolts and just letting the chop a single take down Crafty. Looking for the last one, but can't do it. Synthetic instead will take the round, and a round that they oh so desperately needed. They could get a 4-2 split here. That's all they needed, though. They needed that round. They needed that motivation to get themselves up again and going.
Here it is, the launch pad for Synthetic. They've got their round victory. That's the gas in the tank, and now it's time to put your foot on the pedal and don't let go. You've got the advantage now of an interrupted streak. The Wichita Wolves have looked unfazed for the initial 4 rounds of the game, but number 5 comes shock and awe. And now Wichita, they need to make the reaction shot here for round number 6. If Synthetic take this, there is plenty of opportunity for the rest of this game.
Let's see what happens here. Synthetic, this is a very important piece of the game for them. This could decide basically if they go 1-0 or sorry, if they go 2-0 or if they go 1-1. So I'm just wondering what Wichita Wolves are going to bring to the table, because right now their playstyle is all about what crossfires they're holding. Kafe is a map that has really long lanes on every single floor. There's literally a call out that we are looking at called long bar. That is how long it is. You can see pillars is completely open. It stretches from one side of the map to the other. If you're able to establish crossfires on this map, you just might be golden. You just might be completely golden. So see what happens here, because Synthetic have just been really difficult. It's been really difficult for Synthetic when it comes to challenging these angles. So I like what Wichita is doing. I think that they have, you know, that crossfire established. I just want to see how Synthetic have responded to this, because so far what I've seen is that they're challenging this one player at a time. Sometimes that can work out, but it leads to refrags. Crafty gonna take down Anarchy, however, and I don't think that one's getting refragged anytime soon, at least not on Crafty's end. Synthetic gonna start with an opening frag, completely free, thanks to Anarchy's sail. Good stuff from them.
Yeah, nice flourish in chat there from Crafty. And now the control of the vertical play will begin to fall. The issue for me is that now with Anarchy dead, you don't have enough manpower to staff this top floor hold. And at 2 minutes on the clock, we're seeing plenty of Synthetic move on through. Bestia gets a very important kill now, taking down Crafty. No more hard breach. That makes it significantly more difficult to push into Cocktail. But with so many players around and near this area, they should likely forfeit control. It seems this player in the corner will likely give it up, but no! Bestia finds 3 kills on the round! Taking down Salt and Aim, and they fail to clear this Hazmat tagged up Harass by a Nitro Cell on the vertical play, and the Jaeger finally taken out by Hazmat. Those 2 kills, he should not have gotten them.
Wow, that is really good stuff there from the rest of Synthetic, or sorry, from the rest of Wichita Wolves. Now Synthetic 2 versus 3. That is just transitioned into one of the most explosive rounds and most explosive plays I've ever seen. Bessie is on the ground, and we're still talking about him. That's how good that play is. And Diffuser's dropped, and Synthetic, I don't know about this one. They're gonna have to recover Diffuser, find out where they're pushing from, with 2 players left, and that's unlucky. You know, air jabs are really weird with the way that you aim them, because they're really big. Faded gonna take a hole right to Hazmat's head. It's same day delivery on that SMG-11, and now all of a sudden Fig is left in a 1 versus 3. Who might be able to take down 1 with the range, but no. Fig actually on very low HP thanks to Devil's UMP. I never thought I would say that. Wow. The UMP doesn't finish off kills. Who would have guessed? Now Fig pushing up into mining, and well, this is looking really good for Wichita Wolves, as you can see. A 5-1 scoreline is just so beautiful, but Tyrant will go down. Wichita got to be careful. It might be just 13 seconds left, but who knows? And there it is. Yeah, you're right. You're right. No overpeak it. Fig will take down Fig, and it's going to be a 5-1. Wichita Wolves are looking absolutely incredible. I've never seen them this dominating for a long time, but here we are. We're back to old Wichita Wolves, even with 3 players. Only 3 players from their original roster. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, and what also speaks volumes is Bestia's gun and his performance on the Jaeger on the vertical extension. in my opinion, you know, that was really risky. It was incredibly risky a lot of times when you're talking about that vertical extension. Once it hits kind of the minute and 30 mark on the clock, that's when it's time to give it up. It's time to drop back down and consolidate what you have. But Bestia didn't really have that opportunity. He never was in a spot where he could drop the hatch because of continual pressure. There was constantly someone inside of the bar, and also because that opening frag onto the Goyo allowed them to move much quicker than you would expect from a traditional assault. But also to factor in is the refrag we saw taking down the Hibana. That kill was important too, because no longer could you open up the freezer wall, which would have effectively dislodged Bestia from holding at tarp. You can see that just to the center right of your screen. That wall is almost always open, and it's because the attackers recognize the tarps as such a powerful position. It's so awkward to fiddle around and kind of peek around that corner just because of the position you're put into. The defender has the advantage. You don't know exactly where you need to pre-aim, your crosshair placement, and because of that, not only does Bestia get the initial attacker, there's no one coming from white either to get the refrag. He swings around the corner, he catches out another player from Synthetic off guard, an attempt at a spawn peek, a run out from Wedding. Salt is cut down, and the advantage for Wichita.
What was the play there? So, what? Okay, well, I think it's a little bit too early to go for a peek like that. You kind of want to do that whenever Wichita are just caught off guard, starting to talk about how they're going to attack. But no, you got impatient and you just went for it. I mean, you're not losing a lot of utility if you are Salt. That's a Mozzie down with only a C4. But that's a C4. I mean, what can you do? That's also a player down. Fig is getting extremely aggressive right now, but I think he's going to meet his maker. And yes, Anarchy will take him down. It's going to be a 3 versus 4, a 2 versus 4. As Tyrant's going to take down Crafty all the way over in Pixel. And just like that, Wichita Wolves establishing themselves into the shop and getting 3 frags off of that entire round. And all of a sudden, Synthetic, who once had a great positioning inside of Pixel, had their crossfires down, are now lost. They're now 2 versus 4. The round is chalked basically at this point unless a massive clutch happens. And we might just be on match point as Faded takes down Hazmat. And this is looking like dire straits here for the rest of Synthetic. A-Man left in a 1 versus 4. He's been in these clutch situations quite a bit, but his success rate is not too high. He does hear the Thermite sitting nearby. That's actually the Buck of Anarchy. He goes down, but the trade is immediately there, and Wichita Wolves will take us to match point in a much more far-sighted game than anyone could have expected. Villa looked good, but this doesn't look good at all.
I mean, here's match point. You see it there, right? Center screen. Wichita are dominant. They're looking even better than what their performance showed on Villa. And maybe this is Kafe just being a map which is traditionally much more favored for the defense. It's kind of more outlined, whereas Villa for a long time was incredibly defender-sided, but now the lines are kind of blurred. So any team can really find success no matter the half. Though important to look at is the fact that Wichita, their performance in that previous round. The 3rd floor, the strongest bomb site, the best site to play and the objective for utility. In Synthetic, what do? They say, Salt, you're going to go downstairs. You're going to go to the wedding window with barely any time off the clock. The attackers not even yet have reached the building. They're not even on rappel yet. And he jumps out. Someone's waiting. They kill him immediately. Wichita in the advantage. They don't even have to worry about fighting back in the trade game because you cannot refrag a jump out. It's just something you can't do. If you jump out a window, you are giving up the possibility to play the trade game. You recognize the fact that this inherently is a risk. And the reward, yes, is great. An opening frag could have been huge for Synthetic. But so, too, in the size of the risk is the detriment therein. It's just, I don't know, it's so questionable. Because it's not like Synthetic are looking for an opportunity to close this out, so they're going to go for an aggressive jump out. They're going to try to get that early advantage, not to prolong the game. Yeah. No, they're way behind. They're not even on the track yet for the race. And to do something so grievous like that is incredibly short-sighted from my point of view.
I don't think Fig is going to be slowing down here. I don't think Synthetic's going to be slowing down because you see Fig is currently sitting on, well, there's multiple different calls. We'll call it L desk for now because it's in the shape of an L. I feel like everyone could inherit that. And wow, that was quick. He'll lose his life immediately to the Ash here of Bestia, who has not been slowing down whatsoever here for Wichita Wolves, and get the opening frag. And with the crossfires established by Wichita, we talked about this last time, how a run out just doesn't really mean a refrag. You kind of just give it up immediately. That is literally a frag with no refrag right then and there. Not even a run out, just a frag with no refrag. Hazmat's gonna have to go for something else, and he's distracted by the drone. Tyrant will just slam him off the face of the earth when he's looking at the drone. Improper timing from him. Not much you can say about that. Bestia looking for a second kill, and he'll take down Salt. You can see the pings are coming out. The communication probably an all-time high for Wichita Wolves, and I think Bestia has just secured himself a spot on this roster, by the way. Let's just put that out there. Amazing performance from him. But other than that, there's not much to say. Wichita Wolves on the upper hand, 5 versus 2.
Another flanker? Another one?
And it's the roaming smoke. Call that.
They know too. They know, and he's dead. They know, and he's dead now. Wichita 5v1. Amen, NS, and Crafty is dead. A flawless round. Wichita Wolves, they take the map. GG's. What a trouncing that performance. And Wichita, like you said, Bestia, he just secured his ticket to the roster.
It's gonna be a 7-1L as Wichita Wolves just slam on Kafe. Completely different from what we saw in Villa. Villa was actually, like, arguably a very close game. And even though it was a 7-4 scoreline, and if you look kind of in hindsight to the fact that Villa was 1-7-1, or sorry, Kafe was 1-7-1, you wouldn't have said anything. You would have said that, wow, that was a close game on Villa, and that's it. But this is a best of 2. We saw that Kafe was just not the performance of a lifetime for Synthetic, and it's going to show. We got a 2-0 for Wichita Wolves. Villa was close, but Kafe was not.
Guys, I was watching it that whole time. That was Synthetic's map pick, by the way. They chose to go there. They had the option between that and Clubhouse, and they chose Kafe, and I don't know what exactly was going on. I don't know if they just had no strats or they didn't know what was happening, but it felt so disgruntled. And I mean, I feel terrible for them, honestly, because I mean, you see the potential of some of those players. You guys mentioned it a couple times, but then they come out and they do that. It's just disappointing to see. As an ex-player myself, I would hate to be in that position, but I know that they have the potential to. I don't know.
It seems like there's just kind of like a lapse in the coordination. Like individually, these players are all very talented. I want to say during round, I'm cheating here looking at my notes. I think it was round number 7. Hazmat, he was sitting at Heaven. He took out a drone and instantly he hit a wonderful spray transfer onto the pre-fire so nobody could swing around a new balcony. And it was such an incredible, shot. He might not have killed anyone, but it just shows that Hazmat has mechanical skill. He just has not been able to translate it into the fragging power. All of these players can gun. They can play rank style. I think you just need a coach who can enable them to play in a competitive mindset, because we see them show up to game after game. They're lacking strategies that are effective. They don't really know how to adapt seemingly to a lot of these rounds. Like they'll win. Like take a look back at Villa. They find a strategy that works, but they don't repeat it. They just like go from round to round to round. There's no consistency. There's no repetition. And unfortunately in comp, repetition is huge. Being able to come in with a practice strategy that you're confident in, you know it's going to work. That's a huge part about what makes competitive teams successful. And Synthetic, in large part, is missing that.
Well, I'll tell you who's not missing that. It is one of the coaching staff from Wichita Wolves, the analyst, Cranberry Drip. We remember him playing, I believe, in the qualifiers, but here he is to share some knowledge with us about the Wichita Wolves process, you know, how that game went. So how are you doing, man?
I'm good. Season 3 finals also. Don't forget that.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, that was like right after
all of that.
You took over his position, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you slammed on Jaeger. I think he had like 15 kills in one of those maps. But I digress. So, Jazz, Sticula, what sort of questions do you have for our esteemed analyst over here from the Wichita Wolves?
The name, man.
Yeah, the name. That's fun.
Amazing name. Hands
Thank
down.
you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Outstanding performance from you guys. I just want to ask, whenever it came to like the process of finding your players, you know, Wichita Wolves is a very well-known team. You know, I think, you know, with that whole process of having a boot camp, especially for some reason, elevated them. But I think a lot of teams, whenever they think of T3, whenever they think of SCS or UPL, they think of you guys. So you decided to go with, and I'm not egoing here, by the way. This is not me getting ego, but Bestia and Anarchy. Anarchy hot off of a roster. Bestia, personally, I've never heard of him. Now I know his name very well from an amazing performance from him. So why those names? I mean, like, what did you see in Anarchy and Bestia that was it perhaps just literally the fact that they were available, or did you guys like hand select them for a certain reason?
Well, I mean, first I'll start off by saying, like, everybody knows we haven't had like a solid roster for the past 2 months, and that's pretty obvious. Obvious, like last week's performance was absolutely abysmal from us. And that was just, you know, down to us not having, you know, repetitions in with people on those 2 maps. But then moving on to Anarchy and Bestia, I mean, as a team, we're still doing tryouts. Obviously, like, having these league games slows down that process, but it's still good to get people in and see how they perform in a game day scenario. When it came to Anarchy, we ran him, let's see, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, against Pride. And he did really well there. And then we've had him in for, you know, the scrims and all of that, and he's done really well. He's started to come into his own. And so we just, you know, keep rolling with him, waiting on a couple things to finalize, and then but yeah. And then for Bestia, we had him in last week for a day, and then we didn't have anybody available for entry for today, and so we hit him up like over the weekend and just asked if he could play, and he did amazing. So big props for him.
Absolutely, that was a stunning performance from him, and obviously you guys just have him in the reserve category, just ready to rock and roll. So good stuff from him. I will say good stuff from Wichita Wolves. Obviously that kind of trend of you guys just always having really fluid communication, I think, really showed that game. So I really enjoyed that. Great stuff from you guys. Amazing pre-fires, or sorry, crossfires, and good stuff from your newest additions. You haven't finalized it yet, so I'm not gonna assume, but great stuff from them. Great performance.
Yep.
All right. Sticula, do you have a question real quick, my friend, before we toss it back?
I honestly, I don't have too many in-depth questions. I just wanted to ask, you know, kind of your thoughts on the future of the team, what your expectations are moving forward for the rest of the season, because correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are one of the only undefeated teams, I think?
No, we lost a Visionary last week.
That's right, yeah. Well, that was kind of a tough game. But just generally, what are your expectations for the future of the season? Any plans? Or are you guys just trying to focus up finding the new roster and then scrimming to have the best performance?
Yeah, it's like the last 2 months have been tough on everybody in the team, because like we've had promising people come through, and then just we couldn't finalize the details on all of it. So it's not like, you know, we're passing up on everybody. Like, we have found people, it's just it hasn't worked out, whether that's from our end or their end. So, you know, right now it's looking hopefully like we'll have our 5 soon, and so it's just going to be, you know, grinding it out, making sure we have a really solid roster that we're comfortable with for CL quals, and then going from there. Because at the end of the day, you know, our main goal as a team is to make CL.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you good luck in finding and finalizing that solid 5, as well as following your performance for the rest of SCS, and as well your participation in the next season's CL qualifiers. I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to bring to the table, and if you guys can field a full 5-man, a starting 5 roster, I think you're going to be in a great, solid position already. Even just with subs, you've been performing at an A tier level.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
right. Well, with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and toss it on over to Putin. Thank you again, Cranberry, for all your time, everything that you do for your team. That is awesome. And then Jazz and Sticula, you guys have been phenomenal as usual. I've been listening in this whole time. It's a pleasure to hear you guys cast for sure. I'm happy to have you on the staff. But with that being said, we're going to kick it on over to Putin, like I said, and then we'll see you guys later on in the week or next week, potentially. We'll see. So, all right. And real quick too, Putin, I gotta say, man, Cranberry, he needs to get a job in voiceovers or something.
He reminds me of Corpse.
Oh yeah, yep, I could see that. I could see that. What if he is, incognito mode?
Yeah,
But
that'd honestly be ironic.
oh, that would be. Oh man, I just lost my. There it is. Okay, I for a second I couldn't see anything on my screen, so I was very concerned. But here we are. We got round number 3, and what do you have for us, my friend? Big brain time.
So, for the rounds, my stream was down, so I wasn't able to take in detailed notes on most of the rounds. So this will just play in the background while we discuss
Sure.
primarily Wichita Wolves. So Wichita Wolves, they're looking so much stronger this week than last week. Last week I was kind of scared seeing them go into Synthetic, because Synthetic have been looking strong. Like they're starting to, like last week especially, Synthetic was starting to look more as a team. And then Wichita Wolves was starting to look like they were separating.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see that definitely not be true today. How are you feeling about it?
I think they're really starting to get solidified in who they want. I think that if anything, Cranberry sort of alluded to the fact that they might be finding their top 5 very soon, and I think it's going to include at least one or both of the Anarchy or Bestia duo there. I think that's a really strong pickup for them. It's the right combination of big brain plays and just the heads up fragging that they honestly need and that they want. And I don't know how their comms are, obviously, but I think the vibe is really good. If they've kept them on and they're bringing them back for multiple weeks here in SCS, I think that's a really good sign for them. At the same time, too, I have to mention as well, I saw this pop up on Twitter and Discord in the stream and everything like that. It looks like Hazmat, after today's game, has actually decided to potentially leave comp. I don't know if that's up-to-date information, but I'll be checking into that as well to see exactly what's coming of that. But
He may be just getting frustrated because we saw that he has the gun skill, but it's a bait.
is it a bait? Okay, Ferme, thank you for the heads up on that. I didn't read the full tweet. I just saw it go into the Sin channel, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. They meme a lot, if anything, so I wouldn't put it past them. I was confused though. But oh my god, you got me hard. Okay, if you're watching right now, you got me, man.
So onto Synthetic. They're performing well. They're just not working as a team. Literally, all of Kafe is just solo plays. Those solo plays cost them so many rounds. Like, we saw solo plays from Wichita Wolves, but they were set up a whole lot better. More on the ends of more ratty. Like, we saw Bestia chilling in a corner on top white on that double door facing Freezer double. Like, typical spot, but the Sledge lost his gunfight, so Bessie was able to win that. Then he pre-fired the Ash, killed another, and he was able to maintain that control. Those pre-fires weren't really coming from Synthetic, giving him the needed winning, or whoa, I can't speak. Let's retry that. Giving him the gunfights that they need to win. So hopefully they're able to fix that in scrims. So if they're able to work on communication, especially on the roam game, their roam game was not strong.
Yeah, I would have to.
Go for it.
Sorry, Putin. Okay, I thought you were done talking, so I went for it. But I would have to agree, honestly, with that. From everything that I've seen, obviously I don't have any full-on insight because I can't listen to them telepathically on what they're saying in their comms, but it just looks disjoint. I think they're just doing whatever they want to do in some cases. Like, they might be IGLing a little bit and saying, okay, here, you should try this now, but I don't think it's enough because you have players like Salt, you have players like Emin, who are very strong at fragging, and when you enable that is the #1 priority for a team like Synthetic. You need to enable their fraggers, not put them out on an island. You need to be able to have the refrag, you need to be able to play the intel and have the comms, and I don't think that that's what's going on. But
especially in competitive, because it's like, if you can have the best players in the world But if you're not setting up for refrags, you're just going to get pinched. You're going to die. You're going to be put in a man down situation. You're going to be put in a situation of, oh, maybe I have to make a hero play, which is what we saw from Synthetic. They lost more people, which resulted in more man down, which resulted in loss of rounds.
Yeah.
So those were the Okay, stop.
Your
So
dog's trying to get a word in too. I mean, he
here,
might have something to
I'll
say
get
about the
her.
Wichita Wolves.
Let me get her.
I mean, the
Oh!
Wichita Wolves are descendants of dogs. Okay, yeah, that's pretty close. New mascot, I think, actually. There you go. Oh my god, I love it. I think the stream needed to see that. That's beautiful. But permanent addition to the analyst desk? Question mark. Oh, are you? I can't hear you anymore. I think your dog might have muted your headset mic or something. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. It flicked the switch. Oh my god, yeah, no, I can't hear anything anymore, man. You might have pulled the cord even out of the socket. So with that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead
Hello?
and send. Oh, he's back. He's alive.
Hey!
Hey, all right. But I mean, we are getting close to wrapping up anyway. So with that being said, I think we are gonna start transitioning over to that break. But before we do that, obviously it is Veterans Day today, you guys in the United States. So if you are in the stream still, I would highly recommend you go onto Twitter. And there's actually a really cool promo going on by a mortgage company. So I'm not going to mention who because we don't have product placement or anything like that for them. But they are donating full loan payments off for veterans that are in need of it today. And they're trying to give out 11 full mortgages paid off for them. As long as you just tweet, "Thank you for your service," literally those 5 words, just "Thank you for your service," they'll donate $25 per tweet that has that in it. So I think it's a pretty cool program. They've already like paid off 4 people's houses. So with that being said, that's all I've got to say there. But we are going to be back with a little bit more action here for you in a little while. Second game is going to be First Attempt versus Visionary. So after a short break, we'll see you back with that. Thank you, Putin, for all your work.